Hi everyone, I'm Commander Truder. Thanks for taking a look at my video. I've recently come to the impression that many people find driving the SRV a tedious task and even difficult for some. So I'd like to share some tips and advice on how I've come to learn to drive the SRV. Now, before we get underway, I'd like to point out that this video is as recorded so that I can guide you through as I drive and talk, and I'll be honest, I'm no expert in this. I lose control of the SRV plenty of times, skidding and tumbling and rolling around. But I think it's part of the fun. Now, I'll give you a brief overview of some of the topics I'll discuss. So first of all, controls. I think the first key point is ensuring you're familiar with the controls. Make your key points that you're comfortable with and familiar. The next point, that'll be drive assist, how it works and how to use it effectively. Then there's driving on slopes, when you're ascending a slope or descending a slope. How gravity affects the SRV. Another one, fuel consumption. There's tricks that you can know about that. And finally, how you want to drive fast. I'm sure that's what you want to know. Alright, so right now I'm in the BD 15 4x7 system, part of the IC space, which I'm proud to say I'm a member of. And let's just find a planet to land on. So we'll go into the system tab. I want to pick a body that's not too light, not too heavy. The closest one's 8G, that's rubbish. I'm just going to be bouncing all over the place. I can't really give you a good idea. This one looks reasonable. Yeah, 0.65G. Okay, so A1 it is. It's not too far away either. And yeah, I've still got my Christmas decorations up as well. Now, I suppose some of you, what are you going to do with an SRV? Why do people want to use an SRV? Well, if you want to do engineering, it's fairly prominent that you're going to be using an SRV. You might need to collect materials from surface prospecting, or you might need to go scan data points and bases. Maybe you want to go to some of those Thargoid bases, have a look around, or you might want to look at the Guardian relics. What else is there? You might, maybe for exploration as well, you might need to get some materials for synthesis, or maybe you want materials for synthesis for weapons. You might even be looking at things like active volcanism. So you're most likely going to need to use the SRV for some activities. We're not too far from this planet. I'll make sure I get dayside so we have plenty of light. Shouldn't take me long now. I'll have a little bit of fun here as well. I'll land in style, what do you reckon? Well, I'm already in style, I'm in an Imperial cutter. I'll try and find some places where there'll be some slopes as well, so I'll go near one of craters perhaps. Yeah, I think I'll head there. Some flat land just to drive around, and I hope it's flat anyway. And of course I can just dip into a crater then if I need to. Nice steady descent. Won't be steady for much longer. Oh, look, we're getting some weird glitches going on. Yeah, that piece of land there should be alright. Full throttle now. How long is it going to take me to drop out now, I wonder? Not too long, quite smooth. Yeah, this looks like it'll be reasonable mixed terrain. What? I'm boosting? Why? Because I'm being silly. Because I can, because I'm Imperial. Didn't even feel a thing. Oh, 11%. Right, let's land anyway. Looks like we're good right here. Perfect. Okay, let's get in the SRV now. Alright. Now, one of the key things you need to understand about the SRV is one of the fundamental parts of the game anyway, is understanding the controls and your key bindings. Now, I use a Hotus controller system, particularly it's the Thrustmaster T16000 FCS Hotus pack, which is joystick and throttle. Now, I've got it set up so the pitch and roll for when you're using thrusters or when you roll over is set to your joystick as usual, and steering I've set it to the twist axis on the joystick, and for the throttle, well, naturally it's on the throttle itself on the controller, so that's as you would expect. Now, some people find it difficult to use the joystick for driving, so it might be worthwhile, using a joypad controller like the Xbox 360 pad or what have you, and you could bind the controls much similar to how you would in your favourite racing games. Alright, let's actually get on to driving. So right now you can see I've got it on drive assist. Now, drive assist is a bit curious. And what it does is, when you apply the throttle to a certain amount of power, it doesn't actually control the power of the engine, so to speak. Rather, it's more like cruise control. If you put the throttle at 50%, it'll drive at full power until you reach that speed. It's more a speed setting than it is a power setting. Now, as you noticed there, as I slowed down, it came to a skid. Full power, you can see the tyres there locking. I'll just put the head cam on. Right, so you can see the wheels, they're spinning. Slow down, they just lock. So they act like a brake as well. So to get around that, if you use drive assist, you notice the indicator changes there. Instead of having just a solid bar, you've got this bar on the inner side of the speed indicator, and that shows you the power level that you've got set, and it behaves more like a car would. So when I apply a little amount of power, it's about 1/3 there, you can see I'm going very slowly, and if I put full power on, there we go, start picking up speed. Now, I'll show you, looking straight down at the wheels, if I reduce the power, they don't lock anymore. I come to a gradual stop. And you can see I'm still rolling. It's very easy to control. Steering is smooth, handling is smooth. Full throttle, I can still steer fairly well. I'm already bouncing around now though, so I'll just ease off the throttle and we'll regain power now. If I do the same thing with drive assist on, full throttle, I'm already spinning now, and that's just gently using. As you can see, I'm turning around and it's still trying to put full throttle on all the wheels even though I'm steering, so I get this fishtailing going on. But here I can just guide it gently, So the terrain's not too bad here, so you don't lose much control either. It's easy. And of course, if you want to go fast, you just put full throttle down. And there you go. Now, I've got some curious information. The SRV, it shows you the speed indicator there, like with the ships, it's in meters per second. And for those that know imperial measurements, the top speed of an SRV is about 40 meters per second, so that's almost 90 miles an hour. And the SRV is about the size of a transit van, so that's really powerful. And in kilometers an hour, I think that's about 140 kilometers an hour ish. That's just a guess. But yeah, for the most part, this is all you probably would need to know about having a consistent and smooth driving approach. Just gradually use the throttle as and when needed. So, if drive assist is so bad, why should I use it? Well, I would say it comes useful when you're approaching slopes. So let's go over to this crater that's over there. Let's go as quick as I can. There's one to the right there, but I'll head to the big one. You'll also know when I mentioned about your pitch and roll. The pitch and roll of the SRV works all the time. So you can actually lean into the direction you're travelling, and this should help you stay glued to the ground or help you correct. You can already notice that it's lifting the SRV slightly as I'm pulling back right now. And if you roll over, you just use the pitch and roll on your joystick as usual, and you'll self-right. Okay, this crater seems a bit further than I anticipated. I'm using the boosters right now so I don't crash into those rocks there. You might have noticed I almost skidded out there, so I just eased off. Alright, here's some... Alright, here's a bit. That's not that deep, but... No, it's not steep enough incline, is that yet? I'm sorry this is taking so long. Like I say, I'm doing this as I'm going, so hopefully it won't take long. If need be, I'll edit this out and cut to when I get to this crater down here. Doesn't look like it'll take that long, but mind you, this is a good example of how using just the throttle alone, drive assist off, makes it easier to maintain a reasonable speed and not spin out. So it almost spun out there, eased off the power, correct the steering just there. I'll show you actually. Drive assist on, going full power, going over some bumps. See, already losing control again. It slows you down rapidly using the drive assist off, and you lose your position there. And see, if you throttle down with drive assist off, it puts you into a brake. Alright, let's get onto this slope now. Little annoying rocks in the way. Oh, this is rubbish. Alright, well, going down the slope. This is a long slope, it's not a steep one. I've skidded out even with drive assist off. The idea is, you go down steady, take the throttle off, it'll take you down anyway, but not that much here. I need a better slope. not quite reaching the SRV's top speed here. I don't think I'm going to get to any decent slopes around here. Okay, we'll skip that part then. The idea that I was wanting to mention though is that you can use drive assist like a brake. So I've turned it on now and it's keeping my SRV steady. It's not moving. I don't have to use the handbrake. It's kind of like when you've got a car and you've switched the engine off and you're facing up a hill. You can leave the car in first gear. If your handbrake fails, you won't roll down the hill because it's been held in the gear. Or, if you're more familiar with an automatic car, it's like putting the gear, or whatever you would call it, in parking mode. It holds your car in place. And that's how drive assist can be useful here. It's also useful to apply full torque as well in instances where you might need that extra grip, but you've got to be careful because if you lose the grip as well and you regain it, you'll start skidding. So again, you just ease off, take it off if you need to, and you can switch between the modes as and when you need them. Going down, I prefer to turn drive assist off and just go down steadily. If it's a steep hill, I'll just leave the throttle off and let the SRV take itself down the hill, and I'll probably turn drive assist on just to slow down steadily every now and then, sort of like doing that. Now with that all covered, I think you should have an understanding of how, yeah, to be honest, I think drive assist is useless, but how you can get around easier on planet surfaces with drive assist off. You just drive as and how necessary there. Use the throttle more liberally and it's easier. So I'll talk about something else now. I mentioned in the topics earlier on fuel consumption. Now you can see right now, have I got all the modules on right now? I might not. Seems like it's bugged out for me for some reason. Well, that's good. Let's just quickly switch modes then. Typical FDev game sometimes, eh? Right, there we go, let's get back in. Patiently waiting. Taking a while to load. Alright, here we go. Let's check these modules again now. There we go, they're back. So all modules are on. And at idle, I'm using 0.24 tons per hour. At full throttle, you'll see that rise. I think it goes up to 0.33. It's going up slowly. I use the, yeah, there we go, we use the thrusters as well, 0.4. And the actual tank itself, excuse me, I think it's about half a ton, maybe a third. And at full consumption, you'll only last for an hour. So when you're surface prospecting, you're not likely going to need the shields. You're not going to be fighting skimmers. You're not going to be doing any PvP usually. So you can turn your shields off. And that's a huge amount of power that it draws. The next thing you can do, you can turn the data link scanner. You can turn that on and off as you need. You don't need it on all the time, you see. So we'll turn that off. Yeah, that uses 6%. We need the cargo hatch. You'll be but you could turn it off and on when you need it. You could either deploy the hatch and turn it off, I think. Does that work? I can't remember. Let's have a look. Cargo scoop is open. No, it turns it off, so we need that on. The power distributor, what I recommend you do there is you set your pips to engines and weapons like so, and you turn the power distributor off. Your pips actually remain as they were. You just can't change them anymore, as I'm trying to now. But you've still got 4 pips in engines, 2 pips in weapons, that's all you need. Since you've not got the shield generator on, you don't need any pips in systems. And you've saved a few tenths of a ton there. I think that's it there. Oh, there you go, 0.45 of a ton. Yeah, I think that's what you turn off. And yeah, 0.17 tons per hour. Using that, you go up to the max consumption of driving in general, and then just driving. So you've extended the amount of fuel consumption there by 2 times. You know, you'll get 3 hours out of your drive. So it's useful. I mean, you don't necessarily need to do this. This is something if you don't want to bother synthesizing. If you're low on minerals, materials, you know, like you might be on a planet that for some reason doesn't have sulfur. And we go to inventory, we go to synthesis, refuel. I don't have any phosphorus, so I'd need to. I'd have to find some sulfur, sorry. Excuse me. I don't have any sulfur, so you know, if I didn't watch my fuel consumption, you know, I only have an hour, and that's going to limit my search. So that means going back to the ship, going back to a station, refueling, because it doesn't refuel in your ship as well. It repairs in your ship, but it doesn't refuel. It's a bit curious. Or use one of your other SRVs in stock if you've got larger modules. But that's about it really. That's all I needed to feel that would be worthwhile sharing. So, driver assist, useful as a brake. You can put your handbrake on if you want. You can't go anywhere then. Now you can. You can use the handbrake to do turns as well. So turn driver assist off. Get that quick turn. Inside a spin there. Quick U-turn. Well, that's about it really. Now with these tips, you know, you should be able to drive faster and more consistently, and it should be smoother. You might not have any bumps. When you're driving along, you know, as well, if you see these kinds of bumps, you can go over them, but sometimes it's better just to have a little quick hop over them, or you'll find that you can drive around them a little easier. You're not going to be spinning out all the time and banging into other bumps that are nearby. So, like this. And you still spin if you're not careful. What's that? Anyway. Like I say, with these tips in mind, you know, you should be able to drive smoother, consistently, faster even, less accidents, or should I say fewer accidents. But then again, maybe these tips will become redundant in some time in the future. SRV, you know, the SRV that we have now might be just one option out of many others. We might get skimmer SRVs. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Really fast SRVs. Anyway, I hope these tips help, and thank you for watching. Fly safe out there, or in this case, drive safe.